Look, you all know your Okamis, your Super Robot Wars, your Final Fantasies and your Dragon Quest massive exclusive imports that I talk about every 5 seconds. You all have them in your collection yourself, and after asking our YouTube members which imports list they'd like to see next, it was very much in favor of the exclusives that I don't talk about. 20 of the most obscure Switch imports that do have English. Let's take a look at the exclusives you may not have heard about. Now, just a heads up, firstly, sometimes these are obscure for a reason, and also, as unlikely as it may be, some of these may get a Western release at some point in the future, so just be warned. But let's delve in and take a look. Mantis Burn Racing released digitally way before I'd even joined the SwitchWatch channel, and while a physical Western release was initially planned, it was to be cancelled, leaving it up to Japan to pick up the slack. This is a top-down racer, a bit old school in style, it's packed to the brim with single-player content, and is quite a unique game on the Switch. This Japanese import is never really talked about, and it's not particularly expensive either on PlayAsia. Rolling Sky Collection is a double pack of games released physically in Asia. Rolling Sky 1 and 2 are two vertical auto runners that are musically infused. The gameplay is simple but tough and has plenty of content if you enjoy the challenge. Both of them look visually very different. The first is more simple, while the second is a little bit more ambitious. I actually like these games quite a lot, but I can imagine they won't be for everyone. While the sequel to Override Mech City Brawl released physically in the West, the original game did not. This mech brawler was released physically in Japan and was the supercharged Mega Edition, which gave you instant access to 28 skins. While content may be on the thin side here, what's more satisfying than giant robots beating each other into scrap metal? Juan reviewed this way back when, so consider checking out his review for more info on it. And by the way, if any of these obscure physical import releases take your fancy and you're a hardcore collector, then down below in the description and the pinned comment, I put links as to where you can find them for yourself. They are affiliate links, so any purchase that you make with those links massively helps out the show. Really, you guys help us so much. And in return, you can also get a nice little discount on your order with the coupon code SwitchWatchTV while checking out. That's 5% off any physical item from PlayAsia with the coupon code SwitchWatchTV. Now, I'm sure many of you are aware of the rather infamous Panty Party release from PlayAsia. Well, little known is that this game got a later release in Japan, subtitled Perfect Body Edition. This is a more up-to-date release with more content on the cartridge, and as a nice little collector's edition that I did a nice little unboxing for during one of my weekly physicals videos. This is an arena shooter that's just a little bit cheeky, not dirty at all. It's a game that does not take itself seriously as you control sentient panties who beat each other up. Like I said, the PlayAsia release was rather infamous, but this re-release is one that came and went. You can't buy the original on PlayAsia anymore, so this Japanese release is a great option. Georifters is an action puzzle platforming game that invites you to shift the blocks around you. There are multiple characters, all with different abilities to help you overcome the levels and grab the collectibles on the way. I said it in my review that while this game may not be a looker, it's still a pretty good time. This physical release was in Asian regions and wasn't really talked about much. Our review barely scraped over 2,000 views, so I'm pretty sure no one knows about this one. One for hardcore game collectors. Mistover is a darkly RPG, channeling elements of Darkest Dungeon and a little bit of Etrian Odyssey with its own twist. Top-down dungeon crawling, it can be fairly difficult as you can imagine, and probably won't gel with everyone due to difficulty spikes and such, but RPG fans, it's definitely one to consider, and there's even a mini collector's edition available. Now, I am grouping 4 separate releases into one entry here, just to treat you a little bit and technically squeeze 24 games into this list because I'm such a top guy. The Simple series was a long-running line of super cheaply made games released in Japan. They go way back, offering budget games that could sometimes be alright, but often felt like a waste of money. And that's certainly the same here. I mean, I might as well have thrown money down the drain. But no, the weird collector in me had to get the quad threat of them on the Switch. Now, I'm not even going to say their names because I would butcher them absolutely massively, but please read their names on the screen. One of them is a puzzle action game with mushrooms. I guess a comparison would be kind of like a Tetris game. Another one is a hidden object adventure type game, and a variety pack that contains goldfish scooping, cards, and so on. And the final one is a sports pack, golf, bowling, tennis, and billiards. Honestly, I would have been a better human being just giving the money to charity, but you know, I can't help myself. This is bottom of the barrel imports, and I love it. Daedalus, The Awakening of Golden Jazz is a super obscure physical release. It released physically in both Asia and Japan, but it's actually only the Asian version that has English. The Japanese release does not. This is a mystery-style adventure game, visual novel kind of thing. I heard it's a bit like Phoenix Wright or something like that. I haven't played it myself yet, but I do have it physically. This physical is not the easiest to get hold of, and the Asian version tends to command a much higher price than the Japanese one. Unsurprisingly, it's not exactly Buried Stars level of hard to getness, but you may have to look a little bit harder. When it comes to obscure, Shanghai Refresh is a top tier one. This is a mahjong solitaire game, no, not proper mahjong, the cheap tile matching one. While these are a dime a dozen in Japan, this is pretty much the only one with English on the cartridge. Sadly, it's pretty difficult to get a hold of, one of the rarer imports out there. Are you enjoying this list so far? Well, if you are, hit that subscribe button and the little bell for more content like this. We have a lot of focus on imports, a weekly video on Monday telling you all the physical Switch games for collectors, and on Sunday we take you through all the best Switch bargains, so don't miss out. Subscribe. NANPURE 10,000 plus Puzzle no MADO is a super obscure title that I'm pretty sure about 3 people know about as a potential import. This is a 4-in-1 pack of puzzle games, if you didn't guess that already. Of those 4 games, 3 of them have English. The 4th one is a game based around Japanese characters, so good luck with that. But the others, if you want some Sudoku, some Picross, and something that kind of looks like Minesweeper, then fill your boots. Nightshade is a pretty obscure visual novel. It's of the otame variety, which means a girl trying to date as many dudes as possible. It's a niche genre, but with a hardcore following. If you like romancing novels, then it may interest you. Personally, I have no idea about the quality of this one, but I do know that it's one of the most obscure imports out there, so much that I often forget it exists myself. Not my type of game, but I do like the artwork. Megaquarium is pretty much my career ambition in game form. Well, maybe 10 years ago when I actually wanted to run an aquarium. I even used to work in one. Anyways, this super obscure Japanese exclusive physical does have English, and you control lots of aspects in your aquarium management career. Shout out to Pula Aquarium in Croatia. I worked there about 10 years ago for a short period. Best time ever, and the people are awesome, and the work they do for endangered sea turtles is brilliant. Go visit it. Say Jordan sent you, and I'm sure they'll give you a very confused look. Block Quest Maker BQM is a more of a tool set than a game. It's a creation tool where you create your very own RPGs. This is one for those who want an accessible tool to create voxel-based dungeon crawling RPGs, and I don't have a whole lot to say about it since I've never played it myself, although it does look fascinating, and it's one of the cheaper imports out there. Not going to break the bank to import this one. Lethal League Blaze is an obscure fighting brawler. Anyone who sees this instantly gets vibes of Jet Set Radio. In actuality, they play nothing alike, but the game itself is pretty good. It comes in a small little collector's edition that includes a modest art book and sticker. If you're looking for something a little stylish, then you'll probably want to get your hands on this one for your collection like myself. Petoons Party is a bit of a weird one. This is a very strange looking game, a party game for up to 4 players to compete in 3 game modes that are available, 4 boards and 28 minigames in total. I've said this a few times before, but this does have the wackiest of art styles. It's kind of disturbing. I believe it released physically in the West on the PS4, but the Switch physical is exclusive to Japan thanks to Kosan. Girls und Panzer is more up my alley, although admittedly, I've still yet to get my hands on this one myself. This is a peculiar game with anime girls battling out in tanks. I think that's all most people need to know before jumping on board. Sold! If you want this, you'll have to pick up the Asian version, which is the one that does have English. The Japanese release does not. Despite being really obscure, Obakeidoro has had 2 separate physical releases at different times. Firstly, in Japan it got a physical, then a long time after it got released in other Asian regions with an English cover art. Both versions have English language options too. This is a cute looking but a weird game that's a case of cops and robbers, probably not the prime candidate for a physical release these days, but that just makes it all the more interesting to me. If you're looking for a great action puzzle game and you don't fancy the weird mushroom thing that I talked about earlier, then how about Touhou Spell Bubble? This is kind of like a puzzle bubble or buster move, but mixed with the Touhou franchise, and throwing in a little bit of rhythm gameplay too. It's supposed to be pretty good. There's a standard edition as well as a collector's edition, which of all things comes with a blanket. Nice. One of the most peculiar releases is the Ninja Jajamaru collection. It contains 5 old games in the obscure retro series alongside a brand new entry. These were Famicom titles, so Western audiences probably have no idea what these games are, a mix of platformers, arcade style games, and even RPGs. Now this was put up for pre-order in the West with Dispatch Games, but everyone knows they are a dumpster fire of a publisher who can't be trusted, so stick with the import version if you want this little collection of retro titles. A better AAA horror game from Team Bloober, Blair Witch, or as it's nicely nicknamed, Blair Switch. This was an unexpected release on the system, and even more unlikely was the random physical release exclusive to Japan. Not only that, but Japan also got a collector's edition, which includes the soundtrack, DLC code, and an art book. Definitely a weird release, but one of the higher profile exclusives that I think many people aren't aware of. And there we have it, guys, 20 plus super obscure Switch imports with English language. Like I said, some are obscure for a reason, but if you do want to pick up any of these for your collection, then consider using the links below to help support the SwitchWatch team at the same time. Many thanks to our executive producers Gannicus, God of Resin, Jonathan Rumo, Alolan Jojo, Alexander Cato, Boombox, Brent McLean, Santa Tartaruga, and Dane Wilkinson. Many thanks for your support, plus you watching right now. If you watch all the way through this, you're a top banana. The longer you watch, the more it helps us grow. If you did watch all the way through, give me a fist bump in the comments so I know who the legends are amongst you. Here are a handful of our other videos that we highly recommend you watch. We'll see you guys over there. Take care.